Hey folks, back again here on the Voter Patriots 2 channel, and we have got the New Hampshire Republican presidential primary in the works right now. And I can tell you exactly where to go look this up if you want to look at the actual current results for yourself. It's called DecisionDeskHQ.com. That's where a lot of the news pundits use as their main source to figure this out. And right now, there is 27,000 people that have voted. 14,000 of them have voted for Trump, and 12,000 for Nikki Haley. We're looking at 53 and 46%. 53% for Trump, 56%. Let me back that up. 53% for Trump, 46.3% for Nikki Haley. And for some reason, there's even a 0.6% of the people, 164 people, that still think DeSantis is in the race, or they think voting for him, even though he's not in the race anymore, is still the best answer for them. I don't know. It's kind of weird. But we have the actual Democrat write-in vote as well, which I'm assuming the write-in vote is for Joe Biden from everything I've heard in the news. This is the Democrat votes. You get 7,000 people on the write-in for Joe Biden because he didn't actually even put himself on the ticket. We got Dean Phillips coming in at 25% at this point. But like I said, I will get back to this. It is changing minute by minute, and we should get the full results here within the next less than an hour, I believe. That's how that works. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get into some breaking news. But I did want to let you know the New Hampshire primary is all over the TV as we speak. Now, there's a couple of things that happened yesterday, and one I didn't really want to discuss because it kind of pissed me off. But we'll get to this one first. Now, Speaker Mike Johnson, I like him better than I like McCarthy, but I see that he tends to be kicking the can down the road, just like McCarthy did with these continued resolutions, even though that's his only leverage to get anything done on a border package. The Ukraine funding, the CR spending, those are the things that the Democrats want done. They want some massive budget. And so the only way Republicans can have any leverage to get anything done on the border, in theory, if it's possible, is to use your leverage. And Mike Johnson is not doing that at this moment. It's kind of pissing me off. A couple articles here kind of aggravated me yesterday, but I do want to bring them to y'all. I'm not going to say anything bad about Mike Johnson, but he had some really, really harsh words for Joe Biden. He said, "Do your job." From everything I read, it looks to me like Mike Johnson is still in the phase where he's begging Biden to do something about the border, while he knows in the back of his mind that Texas is having to fight in court behind being able to put up barriers, barbed wire, fencing, water barriers, being sued every time they put up 1 inch of fence. They get sued again by the Biden administration, by the government. And the Biden administration and Biden are suing Texas because they want to open borders. Mike Johnson seems to think harsh words like "do your job" to Joe Biden is going to make a difference. It's not. Joe Biden is not going to close the border, in my opinion, no matter what you do. But giving them any money for Ukraine is a no-go for me. And continue resolutioning our budget down the road. That allows for the excessive waste spending to continue. And I think there's too many people that are around Mike Johnson that are shaking their head at him, telling him, "You better not stop, make this government shutdown happen. You got to kick the can down the road, because otherwise it cuts into some of our deals that are part of this ongoing yearly kick it down the road mess they do every time. It usually takes anywhere from 9 months to a couple of years to get through a budget. It's supposed to happen every year. It's ridiculous. But let me go ahead and read you a little bit about Mike Johnson. He says, Says he appeared on Fox show on the Ingram Angle on Wednesday and was asked about how Democrats seem unwilling to the nation's southern border to witness the conditions these conditions firsthand. Basically, he's saying, why won't the Democrats come down here? You know why the Democrats won't come down here. I think Mike Johnson's playing dumb. Just like he's like, I don't understand why Biden won't close the border, because they have a socialist agenda that doesn't involve closed borders. And there's probably a lot of big business that is happy with the open borders. It says, no one is strong-arming me. I told the president. I looked right across the table from him in the cabinet official room, and I said, Mr. President, you have the authority right now to end the catastrophe, and it's your actions that created it, Johnson said. He said he presented Biden with 64 documented instances of actions. Here's the papers right here of actions and instances of his administration that have led directly to the border crisis. Speaker then went on to say, the ball is really in your court, Mr. President. No new laws are needed to solve the problem. Biden needs to start enforcing the laws that already exist. I've called to him. I've read him a legal authority on the phone on Thursday of last week, and that he could take, Johnson said of the president. He went on to say that Biden insisted he was ready to do big things. Well, hallelujah, Mr. President. President Biden, do your job. And that was pretty much the extent of Mike Johnson's harsh words for the Biden. Ridiculous, folks. I didn't really want to watch the video. I read enough of it. Every time he passes a CR, and every time they continue to placate that they're going to fund Ukraine and spend money in any way that's unnecessary without the border being priority one, he's like Abbott. He's only doing so much. And speaking of the border and Abbott, let's go ahead and get into my next article here. Now, as you know, most people know, as of yesterday, there's been a court case going for quite a while, but as of yesterday, because the court is this case is in appeal, the Supreme Court ruled 5-4 against Texas, meaning that the borders will be open anywhere that the federal police can come up and cut the barbed wire fence. They can literally, until this thing goes through the court system completely and is decided, it's not illegal, I'm guessing, by rule of the Supreme Court. Thank you, Amy Coney Barrett and John Roberts, to cut the razor wire as fast as Texas is putting it up. You got, I'm guessing, the ICE agents coming down there and cutting it up. Now, let me go ahead and read you a little bit about it. It says the National Guard on Tuesday responded to the Supreme Court order allowing Biden regime to cut and remove razor wire installed along the southern border by installing more razor wire. Abbott and Ken Paxton went double-barrel middle fingers. Biden doesn't listen to half of the court order judgments that he has already been sued over. They don't listen. The federal government doesn't mind when the court tells them to. And so I'm guessing the state of Texas is doing the same at this point. They're like, we're going to do what we're going to do anyway. It looks like it's a big fight between whether the federal government or the state actually controls the state's government in the end. It says after the Supreme Court on Monday sided with the Biden regime and allowed Border Patrol agents to remove razor wire installed at the Texas-Mexico border, Governor Greg Abbott previously installed about 30 miles of razor wire in Texas and around Mexico border near Eagle Pass to stop the flood of aliens being let in by the Biden administration. In October, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton filed a lawsuit against the Biden regime regarding their They're cutting razor wire at the border. A lawsuit made its way all the way to the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals after the federal judge sided with Biden. The appeals court last month said agents could not cut the razor wire. And now Biden did an emergency Supreme Court, needed an emergency Supreme Court ruling, and they got it. The Supreme Court temporarily ordered, after the 5-4 decision, allows Biden to continue his legal effort to aid in foreign invasion of America. The destruction of Texas border barriers will not help enforce the laws and keep American citizens safe. This fight is not over, and I look forward to defending our state sovereignty. Ken Paxton. This is sad. I live here in Texas, and I see what's going on firsthand. There's no doubt about it. But I do see that Texas is doing the right thing today. The National Guard is busy putting up more razor wire and barriers at Shelby Park in Eagle Pass, Texas. Says the Texas National Guard responded to the Supreme Court's order to remove razor wire by installing even more. I love it. I love it. All right, folks, I had one more article for you I wanted to get into. Now, this is a prediction on who is going to be the vice president. Now, I'm thinking Trump needs somebody as vice president that he trusts 100%, knows the Constitution and the law, and how crooked the establishment already is. That way they don't have to be trained as to what to look for when all these slings and arrows start coming at Trump the minute he steps back in office. I literally believe he needs a really, really good lawyer as a vice president. Maybe early somebody with a legal mind for sure. So former Trump advisor Sebastian Gorka drops clues on Trump's potential next vice president, a former New York politician. Now, Sebastian Gorka says 3 or 4 things that I'll point out to you that make me have a suspicion of who it could be. Now, let me go ahead and get into it. Okay, here's the most talked about people as far as a list of people that would be on the ticket with Trump. Vivek, of course. Elise Stefanik, New York. South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem. Tim Scott. Byron Donaldson. Mike Pompeo. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Kari Lake. General Mike Flynn. Tucker Carlson. Ben Carlson. Nikki Haley. Sarah Sanders. And Ron DeSantis. No, not Ron DeSantis. I don't even know why they'd put him on the list. And definitely never Nikki. But at any rate, out of all these people, there's probably a couple of people that are not on the list that I could come up with that could be a possibility as far as who Trump might pick. Lee Zeldin, that's another one. Just because I think Trump wants to win New York, and I think that Lee Zeldin almost turned New York red in the last election. I just think it would be a good, smart move, and from the clues that we get from Sebastian Gorka here directly, we'll let you make up your own mind. But one of the clues is it's out of New York, and so I'm thinking who out of New York does Trump want for his presidential pick, his vice presidential pick? Now, if you don't know who Sebastian Gorka is, he's on Newsmax, and he's got his own channel. But he's actually in Trump's inner circle of people that are always at Mar-a-Lago that know Trump's business. One of the people that Trump calls regularly for advice, just like Glenn Beck and Kash Patel. There's a General Flynn. There's a handful of people that are in Trump's inner circle, whether you know it or not. It's a pretty big list, but those are the people that would be in the know as far as who Trump is going to pick. Let me show you. There's a video here bear with me. This guy here on the right is Sebastian Gorka, and I just like the clues that he gives because the way he sounds, he does know who Trump's going to pick.
You hear those chants, VP, VP, VP. Join me now, author of Declassified with Julie Kelly on Substack. Julie Kelly, also here, former Trump White House advisor and host of Gorka, the Gorka Reality Check. The Dr. Sebastian Gorka is in the house. Doc, I love Vivek, great guy. Trump never likes a big personality next to him. What are your thoughts on Vivek?
Look, I like Vivek. I've had him many times on my daily radio show. I told him a year ago, you shouldn't be president. You can't beat President Trump. You'd have a great place in the second Trump administration. God willing, it's up to us. As the new Jared Kushner, as the innovation czar, the business guy, I know who the next vice president is going to be. I can't reveal my sources, but it's not Vivek.
Oh, stop it, Sebastian Gorka. You're just doing that to bring in thousands, hundreds of thousands of viewers to my show. Okay, who is it? We won't tell you.
What are friends for, Eric? What are friends for?
Who's it going to be? You don't have to reveal your source. Who's it going to be?
I'm going to say, the source is the source. It's going to be a guy. It's going to be somebody that nobody's talking about, an amazing patriot who'd actually be a real Veep who can get stuff done. So that's all I'm allowed to say, but hopefully it'll be announced officially by the boss.
Does his name sound like Sebastian Sorka?
Is a former politician and is currently campaigning with Trump. So that's four things. A man, a former politician, a New Yorker, and currently campaigning with Donald Trump. Now, I think about that, and I only think of two people. Rudy Giuliani and Lee Zeldin. I may be wrong, folks, but that throws, it being a man throws at least Stefanik out of the running. So I'm not really going to go that direction with it. But if Sebastian Gorka's right, and he sounds like he knows what he's talking about, it sounds to me like Lee Zeldin. But I could be wrong, folks. Tell me what you think in the comment section down below. Not who you want, but who you think it's going to be. Let's go ahead and jump back in and see if we can get any more of this results. New Hampshire presidential results. Let's see if the needle has moved any. Okay, we're up to 43,000 votes, folks. We have got 23,000 for Trump and 19,000 for Nikki Haley. 54% for Trump and 44% for Nikki Haley. So about 10 points difference in the margins on this one. And the only reason that Nikki Haley even has a decent margin in this one is because the independents and the Democrats and the Trump haters in the Republican Party are all voting for her. That adds up to be quite a few people, folks. No doubt about it. In some states, the rules are not that way, but in New Hampshire and in Ohio and in Iowa and several states, that is the case. But that's all I got for you at the moment, folks. Hopefully within the next hour or so, we'll all be watching the news and getting some breaking results. But it does look like